Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. This is part 10 of the Airfix Avro Vulcan B.2, scale 1 to 72. In part 9, I finished off the paintwork on the underside of the wing and made a start on the tail and rudder. In part 10, I'll be building up the landing gear and placing it on. So let's jump into this. To begin with, I'm painting the hatches, and this is a Umbro 130 white satin. The white colour will be going on both sides of the arches. I'm then moving on to the wheels, and the inner wheel is 90 silver by Revo Agro colour. They're just tiny little parts of the inner wheel that gets this colour. For the tyres themselves, it's light colour black rubber shades tyre black U8733. These light colours for painting tyres are really good. They have many different shades for you to choose from. I would highly recommend them for painting rubber and things like that. It's a lot better than your harsh black that the kit calls for. Begin the assembly. First is the bottom hatch cover. Now there's a little L-shaped bracket here that fits just underneath the wing. The recess point is just underneath there. Now, when you put it in, make sure it's hard up against the wing, so push it up onto the underside of the wing. The reason for that is when you actually put the landing gear in, it goes into the same hole, so you've got to make sure that there's enough room for both parts to go into. The landing gear itself is a fairly straightforward construction. Like everything though, have a look at the instructions. Make sure that you know exactly how each part is going together. It can get a bit confusing when there's multiple parts and there's very small parts. As you can see, I've zoomed in so you can have a better look. The first two main halves just sliding together, but on just looking at it, you would think this is going on the wrong way, but it isn't. The location points for this are inside the brackets that will hold the other parts of the landing gear. So just be wary of that when you are assembling it. As well as the little piston arms as well. Same there, the brackets are a little bit inside for it to butt into. I'm using Umbro's 85 Cold Black for the main paint colour on the landing gear. It's a sort of in between a gloss and satin black, this colour. You may wish to try a different black. A metal black would be good. Mr. Hobby does a good metal black, which is H28, I believe. Would make a really good colour for this, but I'm trying to do this mostly in Umbro colours, hence why I'm using their colour. Of course you can mix up your own colour as well if you prefer, but once it dries it gives off a nice little sheen to it. So now I'm going on to the wheels. As you can see, the wheels are fairly simple. It's just two halves placed together. Make sure you get them centralised and push them in. The thing to note here is the location point for the axle. Make sure you don't bung this up with glue before you place them on, or you'll have to dig it out with your knife. So try and keep that clear. The supporting arm is still 85 Cold Black, like the main strap for the landing gear. There's a piston which is 90 Silver, which is just a little tip. That's the only colour changes really. So back to the landing gear, and it's time to place these onto the actual struts themselves, and they just push on just a little bit of cement inside the recess hole, and they just push on. There's no difficulty whatsoever with these. Some landing gear wheels can be a pain to put on, but these were a joy. As I said, they just push on. There's not really an option for them to be free moving unless you drill right through and put in a hubcap, your own hubcap onto it. But I'm not having them free moving anyway, so that doesn't matter. To place the landing gear into the point where it reaches the location point, you have to twist it slightly to place it in. then just push it up against the back panel, and remember the location point is just underneath where the cover goes, and once you locate that one, the bottom location points will just fall into place. The supported arm, I would suggest placing the bottom part in first. Now just be wary because there is an extra location point for this, but this is for a piston arm. So have a look at the side hatches that you're going to be putting on and see where the piston rod goes before you place this in. That way you won't cover it up. But once you've got it in, you just push it against the main landing gear, line up the brackets. It was a joy to do. It was very easy to fit it. I generally have problems with landing gear sometimes. This one I didn't. The cutaway wing landing gear part, it goes on a similar way. You can actually see how it fits better. I was deciding whether to leave the cover hatch on or not, because obviously this is the cutaway part. But just to give it more stability, I decided to leave it on. I could have filled the area where the landing gear is and the hatch meets, just so it's all levelled off. But I thought I may as well just leave it on because that will give the actual landing gear itself just more shoring up really, so it doesn't move. But apart from that, it went in the exact same way as the one on the wing. You can just about make out the extra location point where the piston rod goes, and it was just above the bar that holds the supporting strut for the landing gear. You may be able to see it just as a pick up. It's got a glimpse of it there. I'll put a photograph up so you can see the location point that I'm speaking about. And then the piston rod goes in to the location point that I've just shown you. There's two piston rods. They're marked off on the instruction as long and one short. So one long, one short. Again, look at the instructions to see which one goes where. Of course, you can just dry fit as well if you're unsure. But I like to put the piston rods in first before I put the hatch cover on. That way I know they're securely on and it's less fiddly. And then lastly, the hatch cover. Make sure you get it right way around. I almost put it in the wrong way around. My hand's sort of in the way here, but it just slides into the corresponding groove of the actual recess of the hatch. And once it's in, I simply just maneuver the pistons into their location points, one on each side, clearly marked. So again, you shouldn't have any problem. The front landing gear is made up pretty much the same way, with the same two colours, so it's 85 coal black, and for the little piston arm it's 90 silver. This little part here I did forget to paint, but I painted it once it was all attached. It's just a little Y piece that goes on and it holds the bracket into place. However, when you put it on, make sure you've got the exact location, because this piston arm fits in the same recess point that the bracket holds into. It just fits right on the end, so it's imperative that you get the initial bracket into the right position. And once that's done, you can put the supporting arm on. The front wheels are made up the same way. They're slightly larger than the wheels on the wing, and you just push them together like before. Again, make sure that you don't bug up the recess hole for the landing gear to go on, and one wheel just goes on each side like so. So to place these on, the location point for it is right at the top again of the bay at the landing gear. Make sure it's fairly solid before you put it on. It can be a little bit tricky, this one, to get correct. If you line up the supporting arm while you're doing this will help getting it in position. But again, it can be very tricky to do. The actual location points for the main branch of the landing gear is quite difficult to see where it goes. but it is near the top of the fuselage like the other two. I think I'll bring the part 10 to an end now. The hatches for the landing gear go in the same way as the wings. I'm only putting one on this side because obviously the other side is a cutaway. You can see here the pistons rods going in. You get a little bit better angle of this. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel? You can see the progress I've made on this build, or indeed the other content on the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll be notified of all my future builds, including the updates for this build. So all that's left to go on is this little rod that goes on the outside. So hit that like button, guys, and leave a comment. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.